Hi, my name is Mike with CanStex, and today we are going to install an FM2A75MA MSI motherboard into a case. I'm going to go ahead and unbox the case and we'll continue. Yes, we're going to install the MSI board into the MSI S-Series 6811 Micro ATX tower. What we're going to do is go ahead and open the case up. I'm going to skip through some of these steps. They're pretty, self-explanatory. Opening the side of the case, basically remove 2 screws. Make sure you're opening the right side of the case and popping off the side. This kind of gives you the inside of an empty case. There are some instruction manuals as far as the case are concerned. Now this board has the USB 3 blue ribbon cable or USB cable that goes out the back and then plugs into your board. Not too particularly fond of those. I do like the adapter that actually plugs into the board. But this board, this case doesn't have one. This is what the case looks like. Empty, brand new. And we're going to go ahead and prep the case for the installation of the motherboard. The case does include all your hardware. It's zip tied on the side right here. Gives you all your screws and your bridges for your motherboard. I call them bridges, but basically all they do is they raise your motherboard about 5 millimeters off of the actual case. Your motherboard should also included a I/O face, which we're going to go ahead and install. The I/O case basically just covers this big gaping hole because there's so many different motherboard brands and configurations. Each motherboard usually sends one with your motherboard. I/O case, if you want to go ahead and check, if you place your motherboard in your case, if you're new at this, you just kind of want to make sure that your faceplate actually lines up. So basically I have my mouse and keyboard plugs in over here at the top of the power supply. 99% of the time that's how they do plug in. But all this does is it goes on the inside of the case. You kind of push it into the case, pops into place, and it's in. In your goodies bag that came with your case, there should have been these little raised adapters that you put in the case. Again, since there's so many different configurations and motherboards, they place them in the bag for you to put in. And what you have is you have pre-drilled holes. Right here's one, right here's one. And basically you line them up with the holes on the board itself. So you have pre-drilled holes on the boards. Match them up in your case, such as here's one. For my motherboard, right here will be one, and these two. I'm going to go ahead and screw these in. This is actually one of the most simplest parts of installing your motherboard. I just hand tighten them in there because when you do place the screw in the socket here and tighten the board down, it actually tightens them down. But I do have a tool that will actually tighten those down also. They also send plastic caps Um, that just kind of shows you it's a lower end model case. So I utilize those also. Usually the next step is just to make sure that the configuration of the little bridges I've put in actually lines up. Of course, if I put the motherboard in the correct way. Where'd my little tool go? Okay, there are little clips over here off the I/O cover. Sometimes those clips are a little low, and you have a hard time pushing your uh, your connectors through the I/O openings. So just kind of pry those up a little bit. Want to make sure everything I put in lines up, and it does. The plastic clips I did put in the board, those little bridge clips. What they're doing is they're holding my motherboard up because basically what they take is some pressure downwards to actually fall into place. So I'm going to give it some gentle pressure until I hear the click. I'm going to do the same amount on both sides until both of them line up and click into place. There we go. I want to go ahead and make sure everything else lines up and the motherboard is placed. Next, we're going to install the 4 screws for the motherboard. What we're going to do now is place the screws into the motherboard. What I use is a magnetized tip screwdriver, and it makes the job, it used to make the job quite easy. But it seems like that one is not magnetized anymore. Gonna have to put that one on the bloopers and follies. What I'm doing is I'm putting the screws in. I'm not tightening them down. I'm just screwing them in about 3/4 of the way. Because I want to be able to, let me go ahead and magnetize this screwdriver a little bit. I want to be able to adjust the board once all the screws are in. That still doesn't want to be. It's going to be one of those days. Okay, I have my screws holding the board. I'm going to go ahead and give it some gentle pressure towards the I/O board to make sure everything lines up, make sure it's nice and tight. And I'm going to tighten the upper corner, hand tight, the bottom corner, and then I'm going to go ahead and tighten the remainder of the screws. Basically all that does is make sure the board is nice and tight against the I/O board, I/O plate, faceplate, and it fits nice and snug. Yes. So we have the board installed and screwed down. We're going to go ahead and put the faceplate that came with the board, the rear faceplate. Go ahead and close that. We're going to utilize the video card that's built onto the board, so we don't need that open for anything. And wow, what a day. Hopefully when you're building your system, things will run a little bit smoother. Must be the fourth one today, so everything is falling apart. Alrighty, that is the motherboard installed. On the next video, what we are going to do is install the power supply and the optical drive and the DVD drive. I mean the hard drive. Yep, that's that.